stop right there. You might think you're doing your body a favor by eating more fruit, but what if I told you that some of the most healthy fruits are actually weakening your legs, draining your strength, and sabotaging your stamina from the inside out? Sounds shocking, right? Because when it comes to your lower body, the foundation of everything from daily movement to athletic power, not all fruits are your friend. In fact, some are quietly destroying your leg strength, leaving you with fatigue, muscle cramps, poor circulation, and even slower recovery. And you probably eat them every single week. Most people never see it coming. They're sipping on smoothies, snacking on fruit bowls, and reaching for so-called natural choices, unaware that behind the sweetness is a muscle-damaging trap that's been hiding in plain sight. In this video, we're exposing 7 of the worst fruits that you should seriously reconsider if you care about staying strong, mobile, and energized, especially in your legs. Some of them will shock you. Some are probably in your kitchen right now. And a few are even recommended by fitness gurus, but the truth is backed by real science, not hype. Bananas. Not always. The muscle. Hero bananas have long been praised as a go-to fruit for athletes, gym-goers, and anyone looking to maintain healthy muscle function thanks to their rich potassium content. But here's a surprising truth. Eating bananas excessively or relying on them as a primary source of energy might be silently weakening your legs rather than strengthening them. First, let's explore how bananas help and where things go wrong. Bananas are loaded with potassium, a vital electrolyte that helps your muscles contract and function properly. They also contain carbohydrates that provide quick energy, ideal before or after workouts. However, balance is everything. When you consume too many bananas, particularly in a short time frame, it can throw off the delicate balance of other essential minerals like magnesium and calcium. These minerals work in tandem with potassium to regulate nerve impulses, hydration, muscle contractions, and relaxation. If you overload on potassium without enough magnesium and calcium, it can result in muscle cramps, fatigue, and even weakness, especially in your legs where the largest muscle groups reside. There's also the sugar factor. Bananas, especially when overripe, have a high glycemic index, which means they spike your blood sugar quickly. This sudden sugar spike gives you an initial burst of energy, but often followed by a crash. Over time, constantly fluctuating blood sugar levels interfere with glucose uptake in muscles, decreasing their efficiency and recovery after activity. When muscles don't receive consistent, balanced energy, they become sluggish and lose strength. You may feel this in your legs as unexplained tiredness or heaviness, particularly after simple activities like walking upstairs or standing for extended periods. Additionally, too many bananas can contribute to digestive sluggishness due to their relatively low fiber-to-sugar ratio, especially when eaten without other fiber-rich foods. This can lead to bloating and water retention, further affecting how your legs feel and perform. Let's not forget individual sensitivities. People with kidney issues must be especially cautious, as excessive potassium can lead to hyperkalemia, a condition that affects nerve and muscle function, including the legs, and can become serious if untreated. So, how do you enjoy bananas without letting them compromise your leg strength? The key is moderation. 1 banana a day is generally fine for most people, especially when balanced with a diet rich in magnesium, leafy greens, nuts, and calcium, dairy, fortified plant milks. Also, pair bananas with protein or healthy fats, like almond butter or yogurt, to slow down sugar absorption and keep your energy stable. In summary, bananas aren't the enemy, but they're not a free pass to eat endlessly. If your legs feel tired, crampy, or weak, and you're downing 2 or 3 bananas daily, it may be time to reassess. A well-balanced diet will always outperform any single superfruit. Remember, leg strength is not just about movement. It's about mineral balance, stable blood sugar, and smart nutrition. Grapes, Sugar bombs in disguise grapes, tiny, juicy, and incredibly easy to snack on, seem like one of the healthiest fruits you could eat. They're hydrating, rich in antioxidants, like resveratrol, and naturally sweet. But beneath their innocent appearance lies a potential danger to your leg strength, especially when consumed in large amounts or without considering your body's metabolic needs. If you've been feeling leg fatigue, weakness, or lack of endurance, and grapes are a staple in your daily snacks, it's time to reconsider. Let's start with the obvious. Sugar content. Grapes are one of the highest sugar fruits per serving. A single cup contains around 23 grams of sugar and almost no fiber. That's comparable to a small candy bar, but without the blood sugar buffering effects of protein or fats. When you eat grapes, especially on an empty stomach or in large amounts, you're delivering a rapid shot of glucose straight into your bloodstream. Your insulin spikes, and the sugar rush is intense, but so is the crash that follows. This sugar roller coaster isn't just bad for energy levels. It directly affects your muscle performance and recovery. Muscles, including those in your legs, depend on steady glucose levels and insulin sensitivity to absorb nutrients efficiently. When insulin is constantly elevated due to frequent sugar spikes from high-sugar fruits like grapes, your cells become resistant. That means less glucose enters the muscle cells, which results in reduced energy production and muscle fatigue. Over time, this can feel like weakness in your lower body, slower recovery from leg workouts, or decreased stamina during walks or runs. Now, let's talk about inflammation. Grapes contain fructose, and when consumed in high amounts, fructose can contribute to chronic, low-grade inflammation in the body. Inflammation is one of the primary culprits behind muscle soreness, joint stiffness, and poor circulation, especially in the lower limbs. If you're experiencing leg pain, heaviness, or swelling and you consume a lot of grapes or grape juice, that might not be a coincidence. There's also the impact on circulation to consider. Weak legs are often a sign of poor blood flow and high sugar intake can damage blood vessels over time. This damage limits oxygen and nutrient delivery to your leg muscles, impairing strength and endurance. It's particularly dangerous if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, where even moderate sugar loads from fruits like grapes can accelerate vascular damage and neuropathy, often felt first in the legs and feet. You might think, but grapes have antioxidants, right? Yes, and particularly resveratrol, found mostly in grape skins and seeds. Resveratrol does have anti-inflammatory and heart-healthy properties, but the problem is dosage. You'd need to eat huge amounts of dark grapes or concentrated supplements to get therapeutic levels. Unfortunately, the volume of grapes needed for that benefit also delivers an overload of sugar, canceling out the advantages for many people, and don't even get started on grape juice. Even 100% grape juice has no fiber and even more concentrated sugar. A single glass can contain 30-40 grams of sugar. That's nearly as much as a soda. Drinking grape juice regularly can absolutely derail your muscle recovery, promote leg inflammation, and contribute to systemic insulin resistance. So what's the solution? If you love grapes, enjoy them in moderation. Stick to a small handful, about 10-12 grapes, and pair them with a handful of nuts, some Greek yogurt, or a piece of cheese to reduce the glycemic load. And opt for dark-colored grapes with seeds, which have higher antioxidant content and slightly lower sugar levels compared to green seedless varieties. Grapes may be delicious, but when overdone, they're nothing short of sugar bombs in disguise. If you're struggling with weak legs, poor endurance, or chronic fatigue in your lower body, it's time to check how many grapes you're popping throughout the day. Sometimes strength starts not in the gym, but in what you choose from the fruit bowl. 3. Mangoes. Tropical, tasty, and trouble. There's no denying the temptation of a juicy, golden mango on a hot day. It's tropical, refreshing, and often labeled as a superfruit packed with vitamins A and C. But if leg strength, endurance, and muscle performance are your priorities, it's time to take a hard look at this sweet fruit. Mangoes, while nutritionally dense in some aspects, can cause more harm than good, especially when it comes to your lower body strength. Let's start with the sugar profile. One medium-sized mango contains over 45 grams of carbohydrates and about 31 grams of sugar. That's more than what you'll find in a glazed donut. When eaten occasionally and in moderation, this sugar can be handled by a healthy metabolism. But when mangoes become a regular feature in your diet, especially if you're already consuming high-carb meals, this sugar spike leads to frequent insulin surges. Insulin is the hormone responsible for ushering glucose into cells, including muscle cells. But when it's constantly elevated due to high sugar intake, your cells become less responsive, a condition known as insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is one of the major silent killers of muscle strength. When your muscles can't efficiently absorb and store glucose, they are starved of energy, even if your blood sugar levels are high. That results in weaker muscle contractions, slower recovery after exercise, and overall fatigue, especially noticeable in large muscle groups like your legs. You may start feeling like climbing stairs takes more effort, or your legs fatigue quickly during workouts. Now, let's talk about inflammation, another major enemy of leg strength. Mangoes contain a type of sugar called fructose, which, when consumed in high quantities, can promote systemic inflammation and increased levels of uric acid. Elevated uric acid is linked to joint pain, stiffness, and gout, all of which often affect the knees, ankles, and feet. This is particularly problematic if you're already dealing with any form of joint inflammation or have underlying metabolic conditions. Mangoes also have a high glycemic load, which means they don't just raise your blood sugar, they keep it elevated longer than lower glycemic fruits. Prolonged high blood sugar levels damage small blood vessels over time, which impairs circulation to the legs. Poor circulation means your leg muscles get less oxygen and fewer nutrients, reducing their ability to perform, recover, and build strength. You may experience frequent cramping, tingling, or that dead leg feeling, even with minimal activity. Some might argue that mangoes are rich in antioxidants and should be embraced. It's true, they do contain vitamins A and C, and small amounts of polyphenols. But the nutritional trade-off is steep if you're consuming mangoes regularly for these benefits, while ignoring the massive sugar load they deliver. You're far better off getting those same antioxidants from lower sugar options like carrots, berries, or leafy greens. Let's not forget the hidden danger in processed mango products, like dried mango, mango smoothies, or pre-bottled mango drinks. These are often stripped of fiber, loaded with added sugars, and can contain over 50 grams of sugar per serving. These highly processed versions of mango are some of the worst offenders when it comes to promoting muscle inflammation, fat gain around the legs, and metabolic dysfunction that directly leads to reduced leg performance. So, what's the bottom line? If you enjoy mangoes, you don't have to give them up entirely, but be strategic. Stick to half a mango, eaten occasionally, and preferably after a workout when your muscles are primed to absorb glucose. Better yet, pair mango with a protein source like cottage cheese or a protein shake to moderate the glycemic effect. In conclusion, mangoes may look like the perfect tropical treat, but when it comes to leg strength, mobility, and metabolic health, they might just be your sweetest enemy. Don't let a fruit disguised as a health food quietly weaken your stride. Your legs do the heavy lifting in life. Give them the fuel they actually need. Cherries. Sweet but sneaky. They're vibrant, juicy, and often hailed for their anti-inflammatory powers. But when it comes to leg strength and muscle performance, cherries are a perfect example of how healthy can turn harmful, especially when consumed without limits or in certain processed forms. Don't be fooled by their innocent appearance. Cherries can quietly sabotage your leg power, especially if you're eating them daily or in concentrated forms like juice or dried snacks. Let's start with their most well-known benefit, anti-inflammatory properties. It's true. Cherries, especially tart cherries, contain anthocyanins, antioxidants that reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. This is why they're often recommended to athletes for recovery. However, what often gets overlooked is how quickly their benefits can turn into drawbacks when they're overconsumed, particularly in forms that strip away fiber and amplify sugar content. A single cup of sweet cherries contains around 18 grams of sugar, a moderate amount, but the way we typically eat cherries makes it easy to overindulge. How many of us stop? At 1 cup? You can easily eat 2 or 3 cups without thinking, especially during cherry season. That pushes sugar intake close to 50 grams, equivalent to a large dessert, and with it comes a serious glycemic load. This sugar surge can lead to blood sugar spikes followed by crashes, which are especially harmful for your muscles, including those in your legs. Muscle cells require steady glucose and insulin sensitivity to function properly, and when that system is out of balance, your legs are the first to feel it. Let's get into inflammation and joint health, especially since cherries are often promoted for reducing symptoms of arthritis and gout. While it's true that compounds in cherries can help reduce uric acid levels short-term, frequent or excessive consumption, especially of cherry juice or dried cherries, can have the opposite effect. These processed forms are often concentrated with added sugars and lack fiber, which leads to rebound inflammation. For people already struggling with joint pain in the knees, hips, or ankles, this can exacerbate symptoms, leading to stiffness, swelling, and ultimately weakened leg performance. Another major issue is the insulin response. High sugar fruits like cherries cause insulin levels to spike. Over time, chronic high insulin weakens muscle efficiency and encourages fat storage over muscle preservation, especially in the legs, where fat accumulation can also interfere with circulation. This poor circulation can mean numbness, cold feet, or tingling sensations. All signs your legs aren't receiving the blood flow and nutrients they need to stay strong and functional. Moreover, excessive cherry consumption can lead to digestive distress. Cherries are high in sorbitol, a sugar alcohol that can cause bloating, gas, and even diarrhea in some people. When your gut health is off, nutrient absorption, including key minerals like magnesium and calcium, is compromised. These minerals are essential for muscle contraction and nerve function, so any disturbance in their uptake can manifest as cramping, muscle weakness, or fatigue, especially in the legs. And let's not forget the hidden sugars in cherry-based products. A single bottle of tart cherry juice can contain up to 36 grams of sugar in 1 serving. That's nearly 9 teaspoons. Drinking this regularly, especially in the evening or post-workout, may give you a brief anti-inflammatory boost, but it comes with metabolic costs that may undercut your muscle recovery and strength building. The takeaway? Yes, cherries have real benefits, but only when used strategically and sparingly. A small handful of fresh cherries post-exercise is fine, but regularly snacking on large bowls of cherries, drinking concentrated juice, or relying on dried cherry snacks is a fast track to blood sugar instability, joint stress, and weak leg performance. So while cherries wear the mask of a functional food, don't be fooled. For strong, healthy legs that support you through workouts and daily life, moderation is key. Sweet doesn't always mean safe, and in the case of cherries, it might mean slow and sneaky destruction of your leg strength. 5. Pineapple acid overload. That eats away at leg strength pineapple is one of those fruits that screams tropical paradise. It's juicy, refreshing, and packed with enzymes that promise better digestion and reduced inflammation. But what if we told you that eating too much pineapple could actually be silently working against your leg strength? Despite its reputation as a health booster, pineapple can become a serious metabolic and muscular disruptor, especially if consumed in the wrong way or in excessive amounts. Let's first talk about what gives pineapple its health halo. It's rich in vitamin C, supports immune function, and contains bromelain, a natural enzyme that helps break down proteins and reduce inflammation. In controlled small amounts, bromelain can assist in muscle recovery. But like many natural compounds, dose matters, and with pineapple, it's easy to go overboard. A single cup of pineapple contains 16 grams of sugar and very little fiber to slow its absorption. This makes pineapple a high glycemic fruit, meaning it spikes blood sugar rapidly. Repeated blood sugar spikes lead to insulin resistance, which compromises how your muscle cells, including those in your legs, absorb and use glucose. If your legs are chronically deprived of energy due to poor glucose uptake, you'll feel it. Fatigue, muscle weakness, reduced endurance, and slower recovery from even basic physical activities like walking or climbing stairs. But it doesn't stop there. Pineapple is also highly acidic, with a pH of around 3.2 to 4.0. This acidity can wreak havoc on your gut health, especially for people with acid reflux, gastritis, or sensitive digestive systems. When the gut is inflamed, it struggles to absorb essential nutrients like magnesium, calcium, and potassium, all of which are required for healthy muscle contractions and leg function. Weak nutrient absorption equals weak muscles no matter how much you're working out. Let's go back to bromelain. Yes, it's an anti-inflammatory, but in excess it can act like a blood thinner. For individuals taking medications such as anticoagulants or dealing with circulatory issues, bromelain can interact with these conditions and contribute to leg bruising, poor circulation, or excessive bleeding after minor injuries. Good blood flow is essential to leg strength. It transports oxygen and nutrients to muscle fibers and removes waste products after movement. If blood flow is compromised, so is performance. Another hidden danger of pineapple lies in its potential to cause oral and digestive irritation. The same bromelain that helps with inflammation can break down protective mucous membranes in your mouth and stomach lining, especially when eaten in large amounts or raw. Ever feel that burning or stinging sensation in your mouth after eating too much pineapple? That's the enzyme at work, dissolving proteins, including your own tissue. While not immediately damaging to legs, systemic inflammation or irritation in the gut can cascade into chronic fatigue, poor muscle recovery, and weakened lower body performance. And then there's canned pineapple or pineapple juice, which is often loaded with added sugars or syrups. A single glass of pineapple juice can contain up to 25 to 30 grams of sugar, with none of the fiber found in fresh fruit. That sugar overload feeds inflammation, spikes insulin, and creates fatigue in large muscle groups, like the glutes and thighs. The result? You're more likely to feel heavy, tired, or achy in your legs, even when you haven't done intense physical activity. So how can you enjoy pineapple safely? The key is moderation and pairing. Eat small amounts of fresh pineapple, not canned, and combine it with protein or healthy fats to slow sugar absorption. Avoid drinking pineapple juice, especially on an empty stomach, and be cautious if you have any gut issues or take blood-thinning medication. In summary, pineapple might look like a tropical gift to your health, but unchecked, it can quietly erode your muscle function, metabolic balance, and nutrient absorption, leading to noticeable weakness in your legs. Don't let its sweetness fool you. When it comes to maintaining strong legs, pineapple can be more poison than paradise if you're not careful. Watermelon, the hydration trap that weakens your legs. Watermelon, it's the ultimate summer fruit. Crisp, juicy, and 92% water. It seems like the perfect health food, right? But behind that refreshing bite lies a metabolic trap that could be secretly sabotaging your leg strength, your stamina, and even your ability to recover after exercise. Yes, even a fruit this watery and seemingly harmless can have surprising consequences for your lower body performance, especially if you're indulging without boundaries. Let's start with the myth that hydrating equals healthy. Watermelons. High water content is great for short-term hydration, but it comes at a nutritional cost. Unlike cucumbers or leafy greens, watermelon delivers hydration with a hefty dose of natural sugar, about 17 grams per medium slice, and up to 30 to 40 grams if you're eating a generous bowl, which most people do. This sugar is mostly fructose, a form of sugar metabolized differently than glucose. Unlike glucose, which can be used by nearly every cell, fructose must be processed in the liver. Excessive fructose consumption, yes, even from fruit, can overload your liver and lead to insulin resistance, fat accumulation, and systemic inflammation. Now, what does this have to do with your legs? Everything. Your leg muscles are some of the largest and most energy-demanding in your body. They depend on steady insulin sensitivity and healthy blood sugar regulation to perform daily tasks, from walking and standing to squats and cardio. When your body is constantly spiking insulin from high fructose fruits like watermelon, it begins to lose sensitivity. That means glucose doesn't efficiently reach your leg muscles and they don't get the fuel they need. The result? You feel weaker, tire more easily, and your recovery from exercise or exertion slows down dramatically. But sugar isn't the only issue. Watermelon also has an extremely high glycemic index, GI, around 76, making it one of the highest GI fruits you can eat. A high GI means that it floods your bloodstream with sugar quickly. You might feel a temporary burst of energy, but it's usually followed by a crash, leaving your legs feeling heavy, sluggish, and underpowered. For those already dealing with blood sugar fluctuations or early insulin resistance, this can lead to a vicious cycle of fatigue, cravings, and muscular underperformance. And here's another surprise. Watermelon contains very little fiber or protein to help slow down digestion and support muscle function. That means the sugars hit hard and fast and offer almost no resistance training support. Over time, relying on watermelon for hydration or snacks can lead to muscle glycogen instability, meaning your leg muscles aren't able to store and access energy efficiently. What about watermelon juice or smoothies? Even worse. A single glass of watermelon juice can pack more than 35 grams of sugar, and all the fiber is stripped out. That turns your healthy drink into a liquid sugar bomb, with zero metabolic breaks. If consumed post-workout, it might give a fleeting sense of refreshment, but it also floods the system with fructose when your body needs electrolytes, protein, and complex carbs to truly rebuild and repair leg muscle. And for people who struggle with electrolyte imbalance, this can be dangerous. While watermelon contains some potassium, it lacks the proper balance of sodium and magnesium, two essential minerals for proper leg muscle contraction and nerve function. Hydrating with too much watermelon without replacing sodium and magnesium can lead to cramps, spasms, and weakness, particularly in the calves and thighs, where large muscle fibers are extremely sensitive to imbalances. So what's the verdict? Should you stop eating watermelon entirely? Not necessarily. But if leg strength and performance are your goals, you must treat watermelon as an occasional treat, not a go-to fuel source. Keep your portions small, about 1 cup, and pair it with a protein-rich food like a boiled egg or cottage cheese to blunt the sugar spike, and skip the juice entirely. Watermelon might be the king of summer fruits, but it could also be the silent thief of your leg strength. It lures you in with hydration and sweetness, then robs your muscles of the metabolic stability and nutrients. They need to stay powerful. If you're serious about your strength and stamina, it's time to rethink this watery imposter. 7. Bananas. The energy lie that undermines leg strength. Bananas, one of the world's most popular fruits. Athletes swear by them, fitness influencers show them off in smoothie bowls, and health gurus call them nature's energy bar. But what if this go-to snack is actually weakening your legs, draining your stamina, and quietly setting you up for muscular underperformance? Despite their glowing reputation, bananas might just be one of the most overrated and misunderstood fruits, especially if you care about strength, mobility, and lower body endurance. Let's start with the basics. One medium banana has about 27 grams of carbs, including 14 grams of sugar and only 3 grams of fiber. That carb-to-fiber ratio matters more than you think. Why? Because without enough fiber, To slow down digestion, the natural sugars in bananas hit your bloodstream rapidly, causing a sharp spike in blood glucose and insulin levels. If you're grabbing a banana before your morning walk or workout, you might feel a quick burst of energy, but it's deceptive and short-lived. This insulin spike leads to an inevitable crash, the kind where your legs suddenly feel heavier, your muscles start to fatigue faster, and your stamina drops off sharply mid-activity. Over time, repeated blood sugar roller coasters from habitual banana consumption can lead to insulin resistance, especially in people who are already predisposed due to stress, poor sleep, or a sedentary lifestyle. And guess what? Insulin resistance is terrible for muscle function, particularly in large muscle groups like your legs. When your muscles can't efficiently use glucose, they weaken, fatigue quickly, and recover slower. But the banana myth gets deeper. Bananas are often promoted as potassium-rich, and yes, they contain about 400 milliliters per fruit. That's decent, but far from extraordinary. In fact, leafy greens, beans, and even avocados offer more potassium without the sugar spike. What bananas lack is balance. While they provide potassium, they have very little magnesium and virtually no sodium, both crucial for muscle contraction, hydration balance, and nerve function. Without these, potassium alone doesn't support muscle performance. It can actually lead to imbalances that cause leg cramps, stiffness, and twitching. And here's a detail most people don't consider. Bananas are high in fructooligosaccharides, which are a type of fermentable fiber. While this might sound healthy, in people with sensitive guts, it can trigger bloating, gas, and digestive discomfort. Why does that matter for your legs? Because when your gut is inflamed, nutrient absorption suffers, meaning your muscles aren't getting the calcium, magnesium, or amino acids they need to stay strong. The gut-muscle axis is real, and bananas can quietly disrupt that balance. Let's talk about timing and context. Many people eat bananas on an empty stomach thinking it's a light, energizing breakfast, but this is one of the worst ways to eat them. The sudden sugar load with zero fat or protein causes a metabolic jolt, especially harmful if you're not immediately exercising. It also increases serotonin production, which may sound good, but elevated serotonin can actually cause drowsiness when not paired with activity. Translation? You might feel more sluggish and mentally foggy, hardly ideal when you're trying to be active and use your legs at their full potential. Even worse are banana smoothies or health snacks like banana chips. Banana chips are often fried and sugared, turning this so-called healthy fruit into a high-calorie inflammatory disaster. A single serving can have more fat and sugar than a candy bar. That's not just unhelpful, it's actively damaging for people trying to build or maintain lean leg strength. So what's the truth? Bananas aren't evil, but they're heavily overhyped, especially when used as a daily snack or pre-workout food. If you love them, treat them like a dessert. Eat half a banana, pair it with protein or healthy fats, and avoid having it first thing in the morning or before long periods of inactivity. The bottom line is this: bananas promise quick energy, but they deliver unstable blood sugar, poor nutrient balance, and metabolic wear and tear, all of which can lead to weaker legs, slower recovery, and reduced performance. If you're serious about building strength from the ground up, it might be time to peel back the truth on bananas and leave the energy lie behind. So there you have it. The 7 seemingly healthy fruits that might be doing more harm than good to your leg strength. Remember, it's not just about cutting these fruits out entirely, but about being smart, intentional, and aware of how they impact your energy, performance, and recovery. Your legs are the foundation of your strength. Whether you're walking, training, climbing, or simply trying to stay active as you age. And by avoiding these hidden traps, you're giving your body a real chance to stay strong, balanced, and powerful from the ground up. If this video opened your eyes or helped you rethink your fruit choices, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps this video reach more people who might be unknowingly sabotaging their progress. And if you're serious about building a healthier, stronger body with the right food, movement, and science-based tips, Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a future upload. We've got more truth-packed content coming your way that you won't want to miss. Got questions? Thoughts? Or a fruit you think we missed? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. And until next time, stay strong, stay smart, and take care of those legs.